What is going on, you guys? Welcome back to Garage Denali. This is Jonathan here. So today we're actually going to be doing an upgrade I've been wanting to do for a very long time. And the reason why I kind of held off on it was because if I said I was going to do this upgrade, I want to do it right. So what I have here is my head unit, and you can see here, this is my stock system right here. I mean, this is, the software is stock, but the actual head unit itself, this is some aftermarket device that I have, and you can see it's touchscreen, and I have to hold this menu button here down the middle just to get to this screen here. And to be honest, it's not great. I really don't like this. If I hold the menu button to go into here, you can see that it's some Android device here. And first of all, I have the door open, so that's why you see that diagram of that car. But if I go down to apps, for example, and you can see here all your apps, I have to click on Z-Link. And this is basically where I enable Apple CarPlay if I want, but I mean, I just have to close the door here. But you can see here, I mean, my trunk is open right now, so sorry about that. But basically it says, please connect Ethernet to activate or something like that. So I've tried to diagnose this, it doesn't work. I figured I should look into getting something a lot better. And I know that there are Apple CarPlay modules that you can retrofit as well, and they're only like 250 bucks, 300 bucks, something like that. The problem with that is if you want to listen to radio and you want to also get Siri directions as well, have Siri tell you where to turn, go left and right, you can't do that because the way the technology is set up, the audio is basically on two different channels, so you have to basically change your input from like radio to auxiliary or whatever. And it wasn't until 2016 or 17, somewhere in that time period, where the channels were basically merged together. And I know that there's a technical term for this, but ultimately you can basically hear your radio and you can get Apple CarPlay to talk to you as well. You can get Siri to talk to you as well. And to be honest, this system here that we're looking at is pretty cheap and flimsy. And this is an aftermarket unit as well. And you can see it's starting to kind of bubble down there a little bit. I mean, I know that there's a bit of a glare, but this is also peeling off here, so this is just not good. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and do this right, and we're actually going to retrofit OEM ID6 head unit, an OEM ID6 head unit with the proper 8.8-inch screen into this car the way it should be. And this is also flashed to have Apple CarPlay as well. So I'm all about OEM plus, and to be honest, there's nothing better than having OEM in a car like this. So with that, let's go ahead and get started. So if we can take a look at our head unit right here, you can see that this is our Harman Kardon NBT EVO ID6 head unit. And I actually bought this online from codemybimmer.com. So I spoke to Steve. He's, I believe he's the operations manager over there at Code My Bimmer. And, I did a lot of reviews. I did a lot of reading up on this retrofit. And Steve from Code My Bimmer kept on popping up saying that people got their head unit from there, and Steve was a pleasure to work with. And he even sent me some instructions after the head unit was shipped that shows me exactly which cables from the old head unit go into the new one here. And it's going to be slightly different as well. We're going to take one cable and plug it into here, and there's one cable from the existing head unit that we're not going to have because it's for the 3G antenna. So with that, we're going to go ahead and start taking the interior apart. But I just wanted to show you guys this is what we're working with. And over here, I have the 8.8-inch screen, which you can kind of see it right there a little bit, but I will show you that once we get to that part. So let's go ahead and get this all taken apart. All right, so the first thing that we need to do in order to get this off is we need to go ahead and remove this center dashboard trim. So this literally just pulls straight out. So go ahead and grab it from the corner down here and just slowly work it out. To remove the two connections here behind your climate control air vents, all you got to do is just pull this out and either stick a pick tool, a pry tool, or a screwdriver right in here and pull out the plug. And as far as the other connector, there's a little tab on the bottom. Just push it inwards and pull straight back. And then go ahead and put your trim in a safe place. The next thing that you need to do is remove this little plastic panel here right below your center control stack here. Start at the top and just pry it downwards, or use a pry tool to help you leverage it to get it out. And this will reveal two Torx T20 bolts that need to come out right here and right there. Alright guys, before you go any further here, don't rush into doing this job just like how I did because I was eager to swap out my head unit. Instead, take your time with this. Go ahead and grab some nice clean microfiber towels and put it down over your work area. So basically, over your cup holders, over your center trim, over your aluminum panel right next to your gear selector, and this will ensure that you have proper protection when you go ahead and remove all this stuff, especially your head unit, so you don't scuff it up the way I did. And now I have to replace it because it looks really ugly. So learn from my mistake and do it right the first time. So once you do that, go ahead and grab your Torx T20 screwdriver or ratchet or whatever you have and start removing the bolts that are in. The screen is held in by either 2 Torx T20 bolts or 2 screws, depending on how your car is set up. So go ahead and pop those out. Next thing what you want to do once you get your 4 Torx T20 bolts out from here, go ahead and pull out this panel straight towards you. And if you have your Renline magnetic phone mount, go ahead and hold on to that too. Otherwise it might fall on the floor. And now at this point, what you're ready to do is go ahead and unplug the connector from this panel. Just squeeze it and pull it straight out. Now the next thing is to remove the other 4 Torx bolts that hold in our actual head unit. So go ahead and pop these 4 out, and then go ahead and pull out your head unit. All right, so now the next thing we need to do is we need to go ahead and remove all of our connections here behind our head unit, so go ahead and do that. All right, so we got our head unit removed and we got all our connections undone. So one thing you want to keep in mind is these little connectors here that you see, they got a little tab up here that you want to press down upon and then pull them out. All right, so a little status update here. I took out the old screen and I put the new one. It is a little smaller, but that's okay because this is high quality. This is factory right here. I did actually have to do a little bit of cleaning out in here because this is everything I pulled out of my center dashboard area. So you can see here, this harness is actually an extension. It's like a converter type of harness or something along those lines. And one of those ends basically plugs right into the monoblock here. So this is actually the factory one. And in order to get this off, actually, there's 2 little tabs here. You can see you just kind of push these in with that little half circle there. So you kind of squeeze it together like this, applying force on both sides, and then you swing the lever back and then this whole thing just pops out. So I had to literally rip all of this out because all that wiring, all that spaghetti that you see was living right behind my center stack here. So once you rip all that out, go ahead and get your new screen installed. And now we're going to go ahead and take our new head unit, which I have right here, and we're going to go ahead and start to make all of our connections. All right, so basically plugging everything back in is very self-explanatory. Everything is color-coded, so the blue goes to the blue, black goes to the black, white goes to the white, pink goes to the pink. This pink cable here is your video connection right here for your screen. And then this white one goes to the white one down there. The yellow goes to the yellow. There is a green cable here, which we will leave unplugged because this is for 3G, but we don't use this anymore, so you can leave it unplugged. And the only last connection we have is our little Wi-Fi antenna right here, as you can see. So this kind of teal plug basically goes in right here where you see that purple magenta, that pinkish connector right there, where you see that socket, whatever you want to call it. So this basically goes right in there. And then this can just be tucked in behind our head unit right in here. So now, once you have that ready to go ahead and take your head unit and slide it right back in. Careful not to pinch any wires. So you can see your head unit has got these 2 little kind of tabs sticking out here. These are basically going to ride into these grooves right here on both sides. All right, once you do that, go ahead and take your T20 bolts and secure your head unit in. We got a little bit of extra room down here, which is always nice. And as a result, because our head unit has a slightly different shape, we don't have the 2 bolts that go into here. So these little T20 bolts are extra. So now what you want to do is go ahead and take your center control stack here and plug it back in. So now we're going to go ahead and grab our center dashboard trim here. And we have power. So look at that. I know it's a little tough for you guys to tell, but the resolution on this screen is a lot greater than it was on that one. And I know it's a smaller screen, like that one is at 10.25 I think, and this is only an 8.8 inch, but let me turn this down. The resolution is a lot greater, and there's no comparison, to be honest. Like, there really isn't. So I'm gonna go ahead and fine tune some of our settings in here, and then I will show you what's up. All right, guys, and that right there is pretty much how you do the OEM NBT EVO ID6 retrofit in your BMW F30. Now, mind you, this pretty much applies to any BMW F3X car for the most part. There might be some very slight variations between the different chassis, but in a nutshell, that's pretty much it, how you do it. I've actually had the head unit in my car for quite a while, and I can say that in listening to music through Apple CarPlay, or even just streaming music through radio, for example, I can say that the processing in the head unit is a lot better than what I had before in my NBT EVO. So it wasn't an ID4 head unit, even though the interface, the software was like version 4, more or less, just because of the layout, as you guys saw. But it wasn't an NBT EVO, it was just a regular NBT, NBT standing for next big thing. That's what BMW called it when they introduced this generation of iDrive. But essentially, I can say, as you know, an audiophile, a guy who loves his audio, his music loud, clear, high quality, even if it's not loud, just loves the clarity in their music, I can say that the new head unit that I installed, that I retrofitted, is a lot better as far as processing. And as you saw, the screen resolution between the with the new upgrade, for example, is also a lot better as well. Like I said, even though it is smaller, and other people have even done the 10.25 inch screen from the BMW X5, for example. But you guys know me by now. I like to be OEM. I like to keep things, you know, as OEM or OEM plus as I can, even though, yeah, that's still an OEM head unit, but I don't think it would look right. So I like to just keep it as it is, just to enhance it as it would have been from the factory, with a couple upgrades here and there. But as far as this goes, for example, this is something that I've been wanting to do for a while. And in doing more research, I actually discovered that it's not as complete as I thought it would be. So during this generation, BMW also offered what they called connected drive. And that's now been replaced with My BMW, which basically allows you to connect your phone to your car via an app, and you can monitor your car, for example, see if the windows are open, see if the doors are locked or unlocked. You can enable ventilation, for example, if it's 100 degrees outside. You can pretty much, from your phone, start the ventilation in your car so that by the time you get to it, it's not as hot, for example. Or if you live in a place where, you know, you want to lower the windows and it's safe to do so, you can do that. And by the time you walk outside, it's not as hot. So a lot of these features, for example, they can be retrofitted with the NBT EVO, but that basically requires retrofitting the ATM module, which basically, the facelift cars got the ATM module, pre-facelift cars had the TCB, and ultimately ATM is a newer piece of hardware which basically allows you to be able to use your phone to connect to the car. So if you noticed on the back of the head unit, there was that little rectangular slot underneath the quad lock. That's where you would have a cable that connects from your ATM module in the trunk, and that would go all the way, you know, through the car up to your head unit and plug in right there. So like I said, I didn't retrofit it because I didn't even realize that this was a thing. However, it's a nice feature. It's nice to have. I don't really need it, although I might change my mind at some point and retrofit it just to have it, just so that I can get it. But yeah, with that, you get real-time traffic updates. You can get weather in your car and have it displayed right there on the screen where you saw the tile for a connected drive. But it also allows you to connect your phone, so you can access all those features, see how much gas you have left, open your windows, turn on the lights, for example, and just do all kinds of other cool stuff. So for me, I don't really need to have those features, although it's nice to have, I will admit, and I like completeness, wholeness. So eventually, at some point, I might retrofit that, but just thought I'd give you guys that as a disclaimer in case you choose to do this, that, yeah, it is an OEM solution. It's not 100% complete. I will admit it's about 90 to 95% complete, but at least you have the majority of the functionality that you could want, which is basically having an upgraded head unit that's OEM with OEM Apple CarPlay, and it works flawlessly, beautifully, and as an added bonus, you get better sound. So with that, I hope that you guys enjoyed this retrofit here. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, feel free to drop them down in the comments. I'd love to, I'd be more than happy to answer them. Any comments, I'd love to check them out and answer them for you as well. I'd love to hear from you. But if you enjoyed this video, go ahead and give it a big thumbs up. Please comment, rate, and subscribe. Thank you very much. Take care.